co-founder and president of Travel Graph, a platform where they help entrepreneurs connect socially. Terry, it's a pleasure to welcome you.
Thank you very much for having me.
I introduced you as the co-founder of this company, but I guess you have a much broader role to play in the entrepreneurial community here. You help entrepreneurs with networking, inspiring them to be better movers and talkers and shakers, I guess. So let's start with helping entrepreneurs develop their soft skills.
You know, communication is the key to everything, as you know. And in business these days, with all of the competing forces for our attention and the short attention span that most entrepreneurs have to begin with, we've got to really be on point and on message. So I've helped people create messages that are impactful, that actually say what they do, why they do it, and most importantly, for whom they do it, so they can grow their business using not only face-to-face communication, like in networking situations, but some of the online tools that are increasingly popular, like Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and soon to be Tribal Graph as well.
You know, entrepreneurs, regardless of their ethnicity and language barriers, whether you take a local American grown entrepreneur or somebody from India or China, when it comes to networking, you know, language barrier is only so much. It's the personality, the hesitation. Even though you have so much knowledge within you, it's difficult to get it out in an articulate fashion. Why do you think there's that struggle within people?
I think part of it's because as an entrepreneur that's working on a product or a service that we're passionate about, that passion takes hold. And it's not so much the fact that we don't necessarily say enough. Often we say too much. And that's why that short burst of information is important. And the other side, so you got some people that talk too much, and then you've got the other folks that are a little bit shy, a little bit introverted, that are creative in their own right, but not necessarily creative at dealing with people. Because if you think about it, you know, especially from a technology which is kind of based on the math and science, there's not a lot of communication, soft skills that are going into that curriculum. Right? Engineers don't have to take communication classes, much like, thankfully for me, communications folks don't have to take engineering.
So if I were to ask you if you can lay out 3-4 pointers for the entrepreneurs, what they can practically follow to improve their communication skills?
Absolutely. It really starts with knowing your audience. Right? From a business perspective, in any given situation, we should be looking for one of two people. We should be looking for an ideal client or an ideal business partner who's going to be able to introduce us. So step one, know who you're looking for. Step two, find out where those people are. Right? Sometimes if you're looking to speak to entrepreneurs, you should be at a conference like Tiecon. You know, if you're looking to speak to doctors, well, Tiecon's probably an okay from a scientific doctor perspective, but not from a medical doctor perspective. Right? So we need to go where our audience is. And then, secondly, figure out what the high points are. Not necessarily the features. Right? We go back to the whole features versus benefits selling. You got to tell people what it's going to do for them. How is it going to save them time? How is it going to save them energy? How is it going to make their lives easier? And most importantly, how is it going to either A, make, or B, save them money? Right? Because at this point, that's what we're looking for. And then put that in a message, and then look at that message and shorten that message as much as humanly possible, and then give it to 10 people and let them tell you what they think it means. And if they communicate back to you what your original idea was to communicate out to the masses, you know you're onto something.
To build on this, let me ask you your take on where do you think most technology entrepreneurs fail in communicating their message?
Oh, that's an easy one. Technology professionals fail because they're too technical, right? We, in technology especially, we have so many acronyms, we have so many buzzwords, and we're in love with the technology. So we're talking bells and whistles, but we're not addressing business needs. So there's an absolute disconnect in that communication from the get-go. Right? We have to speak in the language of the people not in the language of our technology peers. So we can talk turkey all day long about, different programming languages or different infrastructures or different platforms, and we can use all those TLAs or technical language acronyms that we can stand. But once we go outside of that room and start talking to CEOs or heads of marketing or whoever may actually be buying our product, we can't lose them in conversation. And worse, we can't make them feel dumb for not knowing what we're talking about. So we've got to be able to communicate in both languages. We've got to know how to translate our tech talk into business talk.
Finally, I want to talk about karma. Since the theme of Business Karma 3.0, you look around you and you have very many successful entrepreneurs that made huge amounts of money, and they're very giving, at the same time very humble. My take is, as an entrepreneur, you don't have to wait to make it big, to be philanthropic, to have the right karma in you. It starts right from the beginning, the way you are. You have spoken and you've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs and helped them. What is your take on that?
I think giving needs to begin as soon as possible, and I'm hoping that most people have that as a natural makeup in their life. And the reality is we do. From a humanistic perspective, we're biologically and genetically programmed to help one another, but we start to think that we don't have the ability to do that. One of my greatest gifts, I feel one of my greatest gifts to Detroit, was a week-long event that I created called Blood, Sweat, and Gear. And it's where we get together and we help the American Red Cross, Blood, the Motor City Blightbusters, who tears down houses in Detroit to make it a better, more beautiful place, that's Sweat. And then Gear are school supplies for a group called Operation Kid Equip that helps children have the right tools for learning. So that's the gear piece of it. And we did that because ultimately, I know that every single person I come in contact with has one of three things to give. They've got their time or their energy, right? Let's call them time, energy, one and the same. They've got their, which is like their sweat in that scenario. They've got money, right? Which, helps buy gear. And if they don't have either one of those, they most certainly have blood. So we've got things to give back. We've got intellectual capital that we can share. We can go help and mentor. We've got the ability to go out and use our back strength and make a difference by building or tearing down. In our case here in Detroit, some of that stuff needs to go. Or we've got cash where we can just write a check and give back. People need to figure out what they're passionate about, who they want to help, who they want to serve, and step up in doing that. There's no time to wait. It needs to happen now.
Gary, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mateen. I appreciate it.